Super Duper Variety Power Hour with your hosts, Bob Katie
and John Picarillo.
Rock and roll, shake it on down, shake it to the sound, and rock and roll, shake it on down, shake it to the ground, and rock and roll.
Welcome to episode 211 of Bob and John Super Duper Variety Power Hour and RockPod number 3.
I would be John if you put on 100 pounds.
And taller.
Oh, yeah, too.
And if you were taller.
What are you up to, Mr. Peterson? My perfect weight if I were 8 feet tall.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yes, we are doing a RockPod.
RockPod.
RockPod. That's why you need that drop. RockPod.
RockPod.
Instead, I'll do this one.
Every day with you is a punch in the nads.
Welcome to the RockPod.
Yeah, we're going to do... we don't have... I guess we're going to finish up as I stutter. I guess what we're going to do is we've had 2 episodes with talking a lot of Kiss, obviously, and I think we're going to put the punctuation on it.
Are we going to freeform it today?
We're going to freeform it. We're going to duke it out. We're going to fight. You son of a bitch.
Kiss was just here.
Yes, they were up at SPAC, which I had no desire to go see.
Nah, me neither. It's not our Kiss.
No, that's when people say, "Oh, no, I'm a big Kiss fan." Oh, you didn't go see him? It's like, it's not my Kiss.
Poor Paul. I'm so embarrassed for those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Paul's vocal limitations now have turned me off to going to see him because it's not the same for me.
You know what I did notice? I was watching a...
he noticed something. He noticed something.
Older video of Led Zeppelin doing Train Kept Her Rolling with Aerosmith. Mm-hmm. And boy, Robert Plant's voice went pretty early in his...
sure. His voice went... His voice was changed when they were doing...
Coda?
Yeah, when they were touring on doing their last tour, like if you go and you look at the net worth, is that how they pronounce it? Because the K is silent.
Right.
Nedworth,
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There's a series of shows they did there at a festival in England, and Bonham is massively. He's just at his heaviest ever. He looks like he's dying. Well, he was on his way to being dead. Page looks terrible. The only person that looks healthy is John Paul Jones. Well, Robert Plant looks healthy. I should say that he looks healthy. But his vocals, you could see he's struggling on stuff.
Very, very bad. And then when I saw the Aerosmith one, his voice was cracking, and I was just like, wow, that guy's only probably in early 90s. What was Plant? Probably only in his 50s. And I was like, wow, he's hurting.
Was he that old?
You think?
In the early 90s?
Early 90s, maybe?
No, I think he's probably remember, he was the youngest. Him and Bonham were the youngest.
Right.
You're probably talking about maybe mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
Because Aerosmith at that point, if you're talking about early 90s, they're in their early 40s.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So back to the punctuation mark on Kiss.
Punctuation mark on Kiss. Yeah. I know you is one of the reasons why you don't want to see him is because of Eric and Tommy, which doesn't bother me. Which parts of that, let me rephrase it, parts of that doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Parts of that doesn't bother me. Actually, if Paul was still at the height of his, could still do it, I might have thought about going. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing, I don't know. When I got into Kiss, it was 84. I was already, I was already in the second round of Kiss.
Right.
Christ's sakes, they were already on their third guitar player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Their fourth guitar player. because they had gone through Ace, Vinny, and Mark St. John was basically on his
yeah.
way out. Bruce was the one playing. That's the one who I saw was Bruce playing.
Mark St. John is just a blip in history. It's not even like it's like a flash. It just went by. You know,
Yeah.
he was on an album cover. I don't know. Did he play on Animalize, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, that's him on Animalize, and it's him on the cover. It's
Right.
him playing it.
Right.
As we all know, sometimes when you're on the cover of a Kiss album, you're not exactly playing on it. Creatures of the Night, Unmasked, Dynasty. Although Peter did sing on Dynasty, so we'll give him that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the lineup changes for me. It wasn't so like I don't know. It's not. It's never been as big of a deal. You know what I mean? You know, I can imagine that if I had got into Kiss, obviously I was, probably 4 or 5 years too young to really, get into Kiss in their prime. So,
Yeah, because you're what? You
47.
3 or 4 years younger than me.
I'm 47.
47, 50. So
Yeah.
yeah, you did. Yeah, I mean, you kind of missed it, but not really. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 years. About 3 or 4 years to get in when they were in their prime. So by the time I got into it,
Yep.
they were just, I was used to the lineup changes. Does it? It's so when they put Tommy and Eric in Ace and Peter's makeup, it didn't necessarily bother me. Now, do I think they should be doing Beth and Shock Me? They could find better. They could leave those alone. You know what I mean?
They
Really?
gave Eric Singer a goddamn piano. Then Peter Chris got a piano. He had to sit on a stool. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe Eric does know how to play piano. I don't know that.
And the other thing is that the lineup changes didn't bother me so much. I accepted Vinny. I accepted Eric. And I think the fans did too. We accepted what are you going to do? Dissolve the band? Because you got to think, in the 80s, those guys were only in their 30s. What are you going to quit your career? But when they put those, if you take Sonic Boom and you take Dynasty and you put those albums next to each other, to somebody who doesn't know any better, you and I can see, and most probably Kiss fans can see through the makeup by now. You put those two things together, most people, oh my God, it's the same band. Oh my God, I know they're not fraudulent. You caught me on that because they're not saying this is Ace Frehley. This is
No, they've never said that.
right. So that's okay, but and I still am going to stick by my guns. I don't think that they would have the success they're having now. And you said it, and I've seen it. They're selling out everywhere. If they weren't portraying the Ace Frehley, Peter Criss look
I think,
and persona.
who was the last one to leave? Was that Ace?
Ace was yeah. Of the originals?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ace quit about 2 years after Peter quit, I think.
Well, but Peter came back for the Aerosmith stuff.
Oh, right.
So Peter was the last one to leave.
Peter was the last one because that's the first time I ever saw
Christ's
Kiss without Ace and Peter being the guy in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last time I think we both. No, you saw them after. That's the last time I saw them was twice on that Aerosmith Kiss tour, which I thought was a terrible.
Yeah.
Which I thought was terrible. The only time I went the second time is because you gave me a ticket and forced me to go.
For me to look over at you in the middle of an Aerosmith set and you to say, and I say to you, yeah, "You're ready," and you go, "Yep." I was like, "Oh boy, it's got to be bad."
Well, and it wasn't their performance.
No.
On either way, it wasn't performance or anything. It was these. A lot of people dig these tours when you get when you had Kiss and Alice Cooper. Kiss has done a lot of them. Aerosmith's done a couple of them. Motley Crue and Alice. They do these super shows together
because they have
tours.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they have to, but it helps.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and go they have to, but it helps.
No,
it puts them. It definitely raises their the. Fuck, I can't.
Well, no, I don't. If you get a ticket and you say, "Holy shit, I can see Motley Crue and Kiss."
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, yeah.
It raises the visibility of the tour. So, but I've only seen one of these tours, and that's been the Kiss Aerosmith one. And I was so disappointed in it because
'cause
they're taking what they do best and they're cutting it and watering it down to something that's like this down to this to fit the other band that's as big as they are doing the same thing, so it all fits in the show. And it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It completely is. They shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They absolutely shouldn't. I just got back from Buffalo to seeing Iron Maiden, which was a killer show. But to be perfectly honest with you, it would have made it one of the best shows. It definitely fell easily in probably a top 6 or 7 for me. You know what I mean? It was awesome.
Because they're putting on one hell of a stage show from what I've seen.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. They're all playing great.
Yeah.
Regardless of what anybody says, Bruce can't hit every perfect note, but he jokes about it in the show. But he's doing, there's nothing where it's like, oh my God, it's all there. The thing that would have put it way over the top, number one, lose the opening band and add they didn't play my favorite Maiden song, which was Wasted Years, which was kind of disappointing. How do you I don't even think they touched that. I don't even know if they played anything from the Somewhere in Time album. They just they were
Stranger in a Strange Land or anything like
no,
that?
they totally they added other songs from Blaze Bayley and stuff of the album.
Really?
Yeah, which I was just like, but I felt like I know what they were going for. The whole thing was like they did the whole war songs in the beginning. Then they did Revelations, and it was a church thing, and then the Descent into Hell, and so the whole thing was kind of a big story type of thing. Yeah. But they could have easily, but obviously they did Run to the Hills last, which wouldn't have fit in any of that, and they could have just thrown Wasted Years toward the end too. But I would have liked to seen them add a few more songs, other classic songs, than like I would have rather have them do like. Instead of having an opening band, throw in like Wasted Years and Running Free or something.
I didn't think, and I was a critic of Bruce's voice. I told you that. But I don't know if it was you or I forget who it was said to me to go. During the recording of that last album, the guy had throat cancer. I was like,
I brought that up to you.
Yeah. It's like
throat cancer. You didn't know he had.
All right, dude. I guess you get a pass on that, but. I saw some live clips after you guys had gone up there, and he sounds fine. I mean, you look at Rob Halford, he's not hitting anything. When his screams are he's not hitting those things he used to hit.
Yeah.
The guy's 70 years old. He's not doing that anymore. Like we both said, the only guy I know that's still holding up, man, is Sammy. I mean,
Steven Tyler.
And Steven Tyler, he just gets better.
Yeah.
That guy gets better and better every album.
Now, I've seen a couple of things where he's been a little bit. His voice is getting a little raggedy on the top end, but you can't help it.
Still hit them high notes, man.
You can't help it. But bringing it back to Kiss, that was why at that point when Peter finally left and they had Eric come in, so they were the unit they are now, which was with Tommy and Eric in there. That was their chance, and I feel like if they had really done a good job, and I'm just saying if they had done a good job, not a half-assed job, not like Chicken Man and whatever
the Hawk,
yeah. If they had done really good ones and put different makeup on Eric and Tommy, I feel like they could have marched on without a fucking hiccup in it. And right now, they could have possibly been doing the farewell, the end of the road tour, and had included Ace and Peter in their makeup, and it would have been a great thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And did I ever send you the a fan?
Yeah, you sent it.
The prototype ones, like those were actually really cool looking.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, everybody says, "Oh, with you guys, it's Kiss because they're cartoons and they wear makeup and it's explosions and it's not." Listen, I got to tell you something. Some of my favorite music was non-makeup Kiss.
Yeah,
I mean the '80s Kiss, they sunk right. Well, Gene didn't fit in too well, but what
do you say? You looked like couldn't tell if he was the fucky or the fucker,
right? But as far as like musically, some of their best tunes were in the '80s, and so it had nothing to do with that. I was a fan of their music before I ever saw them. I never saw an album cover. My cousin had it on his turntable, and I was like, oh wow.
I heard my first Kiss song and then asked who it was.
Right.
Not I saw them and got into Kiss. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not that there's not that that's a bad thing either.
As with most bands, I never spotted Ozzy. I heard Crazy Train. I was like, who's
I just read that Ozzy said that Ultimate Sin is his least favorite solo album. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Thanks for clearing that up, Ozzy.
Yeah, I know.
I think you could go down the line and everybody would say that.
I think that's where he was his most fucked up. To be honest with you, that's
wow, that's
well.
Yeah, that's where he looked like the fat blonde woman.
Well, yeah, and there's your also your era of Motley Crue's in there, and that's when he was really fucked up. So, yeah, I can. That's why he wrote it. Well, I should say
I never cared for that album. Never did.
I should say that's why his whoever was writing his music wrote a really bad album.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know. Well, didn't Jake write some of that? Jake Ely?
Yeah, his guitar players are usually the guys responsible, and Jake. I don't know.
Now, I think an underrated Ozzy album is No Rest for the Wicked.
Oh yeah,
the first Zach one.
Yeah,
that's so much good stuff on that.
That's a great album.
Crazy Babies. And,
yeah.
I know I'm forgetting a whole bunch. I need in front of me now. I'm old.
Demon Alcohol, Miracle Man,
yo busted. It's so much good stuff on that one. But we're talking about Kiss. So I think they could have gone, because at that point they weren't trying to be. How can I put it this way? And I always just try to drive this home with you, is when you're trying, in the 80s and the 70s and even into the 90s, pretty much until they reunited, Kiss was trying to be a relevant band.
Oh yeah,
they were trying to be a musically relevant, in the moment band. And when they did they did the reunion tour, or started the reunion tour, they went from that trying to be relevant band, then they went to that other level that you want to, that you put, like, them and Aerosmith,
right,
and the Stones. I'm not comparing anybody to the Stones. Relax, but it's that what I'm talking about is that, listen, the Stones haven't been fucking relevant since the 80s musically.
They don't need to be.
Yeah, they don't need to be.
They put on I saw them. They put on an incredible show.
Yeah,
man.
They don't need to be.
Yeah,
and neither does Kiss. Neither does Aerosmith. For Springsteen, for that matter, he's in that fucking realm too. Yeah. He doesn't need to be musically relevant right now.
Billy Joel, Elton John,
yeah, exactly.
They listen.
That whole they went from trying to be musically relevant at that point into there. Aerosmith. I think Aerosmith, it didn't dawn on them, but I think Just Push Play was just a piece of trash.
I think after that they realized, hey, listen, we can just tour.
We're fine. Yeah, that's but that's when that shift happens. You know what I mean? So I don't think Kiss needed to worry about being perfect in what they were putting out there. So I think they could have made that transition and still gone forward and been fine with it.
Listen, these guys have survived for close to 50 years. There's got to be a reason for it. I mean, it's not just dumb luck. I mean, somebody's buying their concert tickets. Somebody's buying albums.
Fuck yeah, they're.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you can tell me that, and I hate to use these guys because I absolutely love them and I love what they're doing, but I seriously doubt Greta Van Fleet's going to be around 50 years. I seriously doubt.
Well, that's what people like us sat around and said about Kiss and Aerosmith too.
True, that's true. You got a point.
What have I always said about Greta Van Fleet? I like what they're doing, but I'm a big fan, but I also want to see when they start coming into their own and not sounding so much like Zeppelin, but start sounding like themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just a growth thing. It needs to go through. It's like they need to churn that music out to move forward along the line.
Right. But bands like Kiss that survive, Aerosmith, I mean, Jesus, look at even Guns N' Roses.
Aerosmith's a good example. They started out, they were the Stones Stones wannabes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it took them a couple of albums and a lot of material to define Aerosmith. You know what I mean?
The poor man's Stones, right?
Yeah. To define them. In other words, they're what they were being, holy fuck, what is it with me today? What they were being compared to, sounding like, and then what they, what them themselves were, needed to go through to go through from there from A to B to get sounding like Aerosmith.
And those bands too, they have such a almost like a cultish following. I mean, I can't tell you, and I'm sure you have too. How many fights have you gotten in with people over defending Kiss or defending? I mean, I know people that have completely bagged on, Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath, or it's like, holy shit, man! If you can't hear I can't help you.
I don't get as offended when they bag on Kiss because it's boring now. You know what I mean? But I don't care. I'm obviously a huge Kiss fan, but I'm also not stupid. Pound for pound, nobody beats Zeppelin.
No,
pound for pound, there's no way. Take each position Zeppelin in the band.
You got Zeppelin and you got the Beatles, and I think the Beatles are the.
I don't even think. To be honest with you, I don't the Beatles. I don't compare. I don't think. No, I don't think they stand up to. I don't think the Beatles stand up to Zeppelin.
Well, no, you got me wrong there. I don't mean they. What I mean is you got your prize fighter champions. You got the Beatles who completely influenced.
Well, yeah. Listen, the Beatles, the one of the reasons why the Beatles were so huge, and I'm talking about a very portion. Believe me, I'm not taking anything away from their talent. It's crazy that they put as many that they can write a fucking hit single at the fucking snap of a fucking. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But they were, and I don't care what you say. I say this about Jimi Hendrix too. Right place at the right fucking time. Okay, right place at the right fucking time. That's what it is. Yep. They were the one that broke it at the right time because nobody had seen anything like that before.
Listen, when I have my points of ha with Kiss, when I watch interviews and I watch interviews of all these bands, who influenced you? Kiss. Who influenced you? Kiss. Pantera. I could go down the list.
Kiss is usually on the list of who influenced
There's
them.
usually 5 bands. It's usually Led Zeppelin. It's usually Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Kiss, Van Halen, and then you have your ones you don't. But those are usually the top 4, I should say, that everybody says, and I mean everybody. I mean everybody from glam metal to grunge to hardcore to. I mean,
some country stars.
Some country star, Garth Brooks, huge Kiss fan. I mean, you every interview I've ever seen with anybody, the one that surprised me the most out of all of them was Jerry Cantrell. He was at a festival, and Kiss was playing, and he had a 1979 Dynasty tour book, and he's like, "Oh man, I just got it signed. It's complete. It's complete. I can't believe it."
Portnoy showed on. Portnoy. He has a Mike Portnoy. I just saw. I follow his Instagram, and he was just at the show in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he went to it.
Yeah, he went there, and he's got pictures with all the guys and everything, and all that. And he had Ace and Peter from years and years ago signatures on his Alive album, and he finally got Paul. He said finally done. It's Paul's and Gene's are on there now too.
I bet you Tommy didn't sign it. I recently, and I don't want to name any names because this person's not a relevant person in my life, but they recently just, and you'll know who I'm talking about. They recently met Kiss, through their good buddy Eric Singer, and posted somewhere on their Facebook that Eric is the real Catman. I don't care what anybody says. And this
Blasphemy.
well,
Blasphemy.
This person has basically turned into a groupie. He's not even he's a groupie now. So
Blasphemy.
all you see is pictures of him with people that are important.
I think Eric Singer might technically be the best drummer in Kiss, but Kiss ever had technically.
I don't know if he's better. I don't know because I never. Well, I don't know. Eric Carr was a great drummer.
I'm not saying any of them weren't great drummers, but I think if you got to listen. I mean, Ace Frehley is my man. Ace is the guy who, it was an Ace song I heard that got me into Kiss. Okay, I play Sunburst Les Pauls because of Ace, but he was not the best guitar player. Now, was he the most influential? And his stuff is just uncomparable? Yes. But Bruce Kulick is the best guitar player Kiss has ever had if you're talking about pound for pound that way. He's the best.
I get so pissed about people with Peter Criss too. I'm like, if you don't look at Peter Criss when his life was falling apart as a drummer. Look at Peter Criss in the beginning, the first 5-6 years he was with Kiss.
Yeah.
Look at that. Don't look at the videos where I hate being in this band. I don't want to be here anymore. I need to quit. Don't look at that shit. And the other thing is, Tommy Lee. Tommy, who was your biggest influence? Peter Criss.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. I'm telling you, I have yet to hear of a band that has not been influenced by them in some way. I mean, Jesus Christ, Motley Crue basically stole their whole persona. They did everything but put the white face paint over the. You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me that they even deny that they took anything from Kiss. Like
No, that's ridiculous.
Like Tommy Lee with the whole, I invented all that. Really? Because I remember Peter Criss in 1977 having a levitating drum kit. How old were you then? 15?
Yeah.
12? I mean, I
don't think he invented that, but he did take it to the. He took it beyond. That's for sure.
To the extreme.
Yeah, he took it to the extreme and beyond.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you can't sit there and listen. All the shows with the probably. Well, you know what? Alice Cooper, you want to say, is the if Kiss are the parents, Alice is the godfather, okay, of shock rock in a way, and even he's truly not the godfather. There were ones even before him doing shit in the 60s.
I'm looking that guy up right now. I know exactly who you're talking about.
And Alice has said it too, but you know, Alice definitely started something with the whole persona thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
With the little bit of makeup he would wear in that persona thing, and all that. You got it?
Yeah. So back in the 60s, back before, and now Alice Cooper was around
something
in the 60s.
Brown, right?
Yeah, he did this. Alice Cooper
English
was
guy.
The Spiders. Alice Cooper had the Spiders, but there's it was called The Crazy World of Arthur Brown.
Yeah.
And if you've ever heard the song Fire, and I don't mean Light Your Fire, I mean there's a song called Fire. He's in full makeup.
It's the something. Isn't there a full title of? It's just not Arthur Brown.
No,
it's something.
It's The Crazy World of Arthur
Brown.
Yeah. So this guy's around in 1964, 5, right around there. Full face makeup. Explosions, pyros going off behind him. So really, that guy, and he's still around, believe it or not. He's probably 85 years old, but he was really the innovator of all that stuff. And he gets no credit for it, which I think is insane. Insane.
But even Alice didn't have like Alice not till a little bit later, until after Kiss had started, did he have the more crazy shows. He had the persona thing with the makeup and everything, but the shows didn't start going, to the next. Kiss brought that to the next level, of that. And of course, you had to mention David Bowie in there too.
Oh, absolutely.
Bowie was huge with his
the Ziggy Stardust
stuff too, which is right about that. I think that's it was right about the same time as Alice.
72.
Yeah. Right around there. But Kiss just took it on on steroids, and obviously it been just chomped it down like a steroid.
And people also forget that I know everybody thinks Twisted Sister's an '80s band. Those guys have been out since 1972. The New York Dolls. I mean, there was a whole scene.
Yeah, Gene always said that both Aerosmith and Kiss said New York Dolls were the biggest, baddest thing in the block in the Northeast in New York and stuff. Well, you know what I mean? But they didn't go beyond that. Problem is they never went beyond that. And as Gene said, he goes, yeah, we wanted to do that. But the problem is when we dressed up like that, we look like linebackers in tutus.
Right.
So he goes, we thought that's when they wanted to take it the other direction.
Well, the thing of it is, too, is that everybody says, well, the stuff in the 80s is glam. Well, no, the stuff in the 70s was glam. I mean, I'm forgetting T-Rex, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
T-Rex, Sweet.
Sweet. I mean, so you look at all that, and now they've kind of separated it. Now it's kind of like, well, the 80s is hair metal now. It's not glam but bands were doing basically the same thing that was going, I mean, Poison, all those bands. What's that line from the movie Rockstar where he's putting on makeup? He's like, how much of this blush should I put on? He's like, I just keep putting this stuff on till I want to fuck myself.
Pretty much.
So,
all right, hang on a second. We gotta pause. We gotta pause for the cause.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Bob and John Super Duper Variety Power Hour.
You have no idea of the magnitude of this thing. If she is allowed to infiltrate this world, then George Costanza, as you know him, ceases to exist. You see, right now, I have relationship George, but there is also independent George. That's the George you know, the George you grew up with. Movie George, coffee shop George, liar George, bawdy George.
I love that George.
Me too, and he's dying, Jerry. If relationship George walks through this door, he will kill independent George. A George divided against itself cannot stand. You're killing independent George.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Time to make the chimmy fucking chongas.
You can find us at Bob and John's Podcast at gmail.com, on Buzzsprout.com, Spotify, and iTunes.com, or at Loose and Buttery on the Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook Live, and on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, Bob and John Super Duper Variety Power Hour. And if you want to get your rock and roll fix in, go over to 151online.com for all your rock and roll needs. Now back to your regular scheduled program.
Wow. Nice.
All in one breath, huh?
Hey, let me ask you something.
Didn't fuck that up.
How come no 151 on Amazon Music?
It is.
You're right. You know why?
It is.
God damn it, you're right. Wow, I just had a blank, just like you. Mm-hmm. Because the other day, I was just trying to see, and I said, hey, can you play Shake It On? I said, Alexa.
Yeah.
Alexa.
No, they're all upstairs.
Okay.
I don't have them downstairs.
Yeah, I said, Alexa, can you play Shake It On Down by 151? Mm-hmm. She's like, sure.
Oh, that was the first thing I did when I got Alexa. Tried that out.
Great, man.
You're right, Greg. Thanks for correcting me. That's how I learn.
It is. What is it with all the Antarctic stuff? I guess this is a shark, right?
That's been around for years now.
This isn't your.
That's been around. That's been on the podcast for years. It's because John kept had a spilling run, so we gave him. Yeah, Jay gave him a sippy cup because he had a couple of bad ones.
Alrighty then.
So that's the John sippy cup. Yeah, actually, the last bad spill was that Jay. I don't remember who the last bad spill was. Yeah, oh yeah, there's terrible.
You need to get someone to clean stuff. Who's in charge of this area?
This is John, actually. John's on summer vacation.
Does that mean he doesn't clean?
Obviously.
John, you need to come down here and clean up. And finish this fucking wall, for God's sake.
Let me see if he's here. You want to see if he's here?
Let's see if he's here.
Let's see if he's here.
It's going to be winter soon. You know, are you going over that door, too?
No. I got plans for the door. It's still going to be there, but I have different plans for that. No, he's not here.
Where is he?
I think he had to run some errands and do some things. He had to do some papa things.
Papa
Things.
So we can't beckon him down.
No.
Not used to holding a tool with that kind of power stand? I'm kidding. I've seen yours while you were sleeping. It's great.
So where were we?
I don't know. We were talking about some fucking band with wears makeup and.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I think I think they could have taken that opportunity when Peter left the band and repackaged Eric and Tommy and still have been perfectly fine with it.
Did you notice?
Because you know why? Because the spectacle and the show and everything else. Nobody comes to see. No offense. Nobody comes to see Eric and Tommy, who's a real Kiss fan. They go and see Peter and Gene in the show. You know what I mean?
Peter, or Gene and Paul.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
You said Gene and Peter.
Sorry,
Gene and
Peter.
Paul. Peter,
yeah, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Gene and Paul and the show. You know, that's what they go to see, and they hear the iconic songs, and they're still doing that. You know, it left me a little bit sour when they put Beth and Shock Me into the. It's like, give them their own songs.
And the thing that's killing me
what
too,
I mean?
man, is that now they're even doing all Ace's fucking guitar pyro stuff, and that's really
that's so.
It's part of the show. I got
so. Where do you separate that? Where do you separate that? That they're trying to give you a classic Kiss show. So where do you separate the? You know, obviously, I think if they do some of the guitar pyro, but try to not replicate what Ace was doing exactly with the solos.
They're blowing speakers up.
That's part of. Listen, they have a shooting guitar.
Look at and if you go on, you go on to watch one of Tommy's solos, he's doing Ace's solo.
Well, okay, but you know what? Here's the thing: if they had repackaged Tommy when they had the chance, he could have done something a lot different, but still kept some of the pyro things because it's the show. You know what I mean?
Well, Tommy said it. Tommy goes, I understand why people are pissed.
Him and Eric aren't stupid.
He's like, I get it. He goes, I just hope that when it's all said and done that people will say, hey, and listen, I don't blame them for doing this. This is where people get mad at me because I'm like, I don't blame them for doing it. Hell, if
anybody would be doing it, I don't give a rat's ass.
No, if somebody walked up to me and said, hey, because you know my vocal style, everybody said, hey, Guns N' Roses needs a new lead singer and they wanted to get you in it. You think I'm thinking about Axl?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Holy shit, really?
No. When the contract gets put down with the money, with the numbers,
who said
I don't
no?
care.
It's a job.
Everybody who sits there and goes, I wouldn't do this.
Bullshit.
I wouldn't do that.
Bullshit.
You know what? You really tell how people stick to their guns when the money when the money is sitting in front of them.
Right. When you're guaranteed, let me see. I would say Tommy and Eric for a 3-year tour are probably. I'm probably being generous on this, but they're probably making about $30 million a piece. How do you turn that down?
That's pretty generous.
And the only reason I'm saying that is because it's a 3-year thing. They're probably making $10 million a show.
I would have thought more like 5.
They gave. Well, you might be right. That's why I said I'm probably over. But if you look at it, where they gave Peter, and you might be right because they gave Peter and Ace, I think for the reunion, $20 million a piece. Well, according to Peter, they gave Ace way more, but you know, so yeah, who says no to that? Even if it's $15 million for 3 years, you're still fucking set forever. $15 million?
Well, unless you blow through it, you know.
You know, so yeah, anybody who says they wouldn't do it is full of shit. And to be on the road like that and to be having fun and meeting fans, and you know, you got your own doctors with you, and you got your own.
And listen, I wholeheartedly understand why they continued past the original farewell, because after that, when they were doing that original farewell, they were burned out by Ace and Peter again. Because Ace and Peter, no matter how much we love them and how great and what great contributions they are in the whole beginnings of Kiss and all that and everything, they're pains in the asses.
The Kiss universe.
They're complicated pains in the asses.
Well, Gene and Paul, if they had it their way, it never would have been a democracy. And a democracy, unfortunately, when you have a democracy, you got to deal with pains in the asses. We have everybody I know.
Every band has.
When it's a democracy. Now, when you and I were playing and things broke up the first time, if we had kept it, you and me as we're the guys, we're hiring you, and as you come in, you know that this is a job and we can fire you at any time. It would have been much better, and I think that's how Gene and Paul look at it. It's like, look at
well, yeah, but also it's a whole different level. They're dealing with literally a corporation at the time.
Well,
they're a corporation. That's a lot different than just your average band going through members. They're a fucking multi-million-dollar corporation, and they want to keep it going. You know what I mean? So obviously they're not going to render control if they feel like their vision. Bon Jovi did the same thing after New Jersey. Bon Jovi took over. Basically, I mean, he didn't fire everybody, but he put everybody on notice and said, "Listen, I'm Bon Jovi. I'm the guy who's going to be. It's my vision. If you want to join my vision, come aboard, join it, and we'll continue on." But it's my, and he made everybody else contract players,
right,
in that band. Everybody hadn't signed contracts.
Well, that's what Axl basically did until he figured, well, bringing Slash and Duff back, and and I see where Izzy wouldn't do it. I mean, there was trust issues there. It's like, is Axl going to fuck? I think that whole thing with AC/DC straightened Axl's ass out. I think having to be on time, and you can't say you work for Angus Young now. Fuck over Angus Young. He's going to say, I can get anybody to sing like you, Axl. I can get anybody with a gravelly voice, and he can play. I can get a fucking tribute singer.
There's another band too. I wish they would. I know they're doing a new album with Brian Johnson, and I love Brian Johnson being back in the band. Just go out and tour, dude. Just go out and tour. We don't. Whatever you put out isn't going to be relevant. It's gonna fall by the wayside and get washed away.
That's the thing with all these bands that were huge in the 80s and 70s, 80s, 90s. Whenever your time was, your time is over. People. This is why. But here you do though. Put a song out. Just put a song out. One song and see what happens. You don't need to go work on a whole album. I hate the Grateful Dead, but I get what they did. Listen. We put our music out. We put our albums out. Now we're just going to fucking tour. And that's the way to fucking do it.
Because their albums didn't do anything.
Well, because they
built it completely 1,000,000% by
live. Right. But that's what I'm saying. All these bands that are and got dead singers and dead guitar players.
I'm not a Grateful Dead fan either. Listen, I used to say, "Oh, the Grateful Dead sucks." They don't suck. They're good musicians. I just don't
dig their music,
and I don't dig their music.
Listen,
I don't like to say anybody sucks anymore because I think of as an individual. I think I've grown from being a teenager and a 20-some-year-old when you used to say, "Oh, they suck." You know what I mean? It's just not what and I think I try now to really consciously say I just don't connect with the music, and it's not something that connects with me, so therefore I don't like to put their talent down.
That's just being childish and showing your immaturity if you're still doing it at our age. I mean, I don't see anything. You've thrown bands at me. The Winery Dogs is the one, and everybody. And listen, I'm in the minority. I know a lot of everybody I've talked to. I don't like it. I don't get it. But I'm not Richie Kotzen. I'm not. I mean, the band he put around. I mean, Mike Portnoy and
Billy
Sheehan. To sit there and say, "Oh, they suck," is kind of like. Oh, well, I don't like them. Whatever.
No,
they don't suck. I don't like them.
I just don't connect with them.
I don't connect with them, and I don't ever say anybody sucks anymore. I kind of go, not my thing. It might be your thing. It's not my thing anymore. But to sit there and go, oh, they suck, or they're this or that. That's your opinion. I mean, a lot of people think.
When I'm by myself in my head, I still use the word, "Oh, they suck," but I don't mean it in my head. I know to myself, I don't mean it that they are actually bad musicians. I just mean that I don't like it, and it's an opinion. You know what I mean? publicly when I say that, I try to be very conscious of not to put down bands because I don't want to. Because they don't suck. Listen. You get a record deal. How can you suck? If you're out there doing it and people like what you do, how can you suck? You know what I mean?
Well, there's a double-sided coin there. Towards the end of the 80s, I would say towards the end of the 70s, and probably in the 90s too, you get to a point where they start seeing a formula. And the record company says
the watered down version.
Oh, there's another band that sounds like.
Oh, it's like, hey, it's Poison Light. It's
right there. Hey, there's another band that sounds like Aerosmith. There's another band that sounds like this one, and then you just start signing bands.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Look at the 80s. Between like 87 and 90.
No, I think it was. I think it really came to a head. I think you're a little bit early on that. I think where we really saw it was right about the cusp of 90, 91, 92.
That's
when you got Trickster. That's when you
Firehouse.
got Firehouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, come on. I know Warrant was earlier, but they were a little watered. They were a little watered down, poisonish a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
they had some good songs. They had actually some decent stuff.
Tora, Dangerous Toys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just going on where, it was like, oh, okay, we've hit the second level of what was great.
That's how.
You know what I mean?
That's how grunge struck and fucking killed us. And then thank God.
Well, that's why punk struck
and killed
disco and that type of shit and everything else.
Thank God for Pantera. That's all I can say because they crushed that whole fucking grunge movement, which I think is hideous.
No,
anyway.
I'll go back on this. I don't like a lot of the grunge stuff, but there's some of it I do like that they put into there. I love Stone Temple Pilots. I like Soundgarden.
Stone Temple, they're grunge, but I was going to say maybe Seattle. Do you know I
think saying the grunge movement is like lumping everything when they say hair metal. I think there's too many bands. That got lumped into a very small level of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Stone Temple Pilot they didn't sound anything like the rest of them.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
I mean, Pearl Jam sounds like the Pearl Jam sounds like a whole entity on their own. Nirvana, I hated. They didn't suck, but I hated them.
They had a couple of decent tunes.
I hated them.
But
I hated Nirvana.
Soundgarden was the Kings. Soundgarden,
Alice in Chains. I don't know. Everybody loves Alice in Chains. I don't like them.
It's
never liked them.
Dude, listen. It's
to be honest with you, the whole thing I didn't like about all that was just the whole overall moodiness of it.
I'm sad. Life is horrible. Hey, well, if you look at if you fucking look at things, none of the lead singers of any of them bands are still alive except for one.
Eddie Vedder, yeah.
They're all fucking dead by drug overdose or suicide or all suicide or whatever. How the dude, I didn't get it. The music was fucking horrible in my opinion. All Alice in Chains was a fucking was some guy ripping off Axl's low tone.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, too, I think Jerry Cantrell's a fabulous guitar player.
Absolutely.
I think he's an awesome guitar player.
Absolutely.
And I just didn't get Alice in Chains at all. To me, it felt like I don't understand the whole mood that happened there. The mood changed, and not that it was obvious that the second and third rungs of hair metal was not good. You know what I mean?
No.
But I didn't understand the whole, like, okay, so we're going to go away from, we're going to go from one extreme to the other. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing of it is, I've told you this before, that Pearl Jam was a band called Mother Love Bone. And if anybody has never heard Mother Love Bone, please go out and check it out, because they consider it grunge. I don't consider it grunge. And the singer of that band was great, and unfortunately died of a drug overdose. That seems to be the thing for Seattle guys to fucking shoot themselves up and die. But
It's the round of like it was in the early 70s with Hendrix and Joplin and Morrison.
you're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
All the people dropping, The one thing that really annoyed me is when they started putting Kurt Cobain and comparing him to John Lennon.
That was ridiculous.
It was like, oh, wow, really, guys?
That was that was ridiculous.
Wow.
But I didn't get it. I just didn't get
And
it.
I'm more of a McCartney guy, but you're comparing him to Lennon, really?
But
what has he earned to compare him to Lennon?
I know. But when and honestly, when the Guns N' Roses album broke, it was really Guns N' Roses, I think, and Pantera that saved rock and roll. Because God, if rock and roll died off and grunge were the norm.
Yeah, Guns
It
was
would
still
be
at their height
horrible.
when grunge was. The Guns did, or I should say, grunge did not impact Guns N' Roses. It might have actually killed off competition and made them bigger. And made them bigger. They self-destructed on their own.
Pantera came out in '91.
I know nothing of Pantera. I don't. I've tried to listen to it, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's lost on me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's got a talented bunch of dudes in that band, and
I'm not saying they weren't talented at all. I'm just saying that I
right.
just don't. I don't. Listen. I don't get. I'm still with the exception of a few songs. I don't get Metallica. I don't get Metallica either.
I just feel that the whole grunge thing was like you said. Oh, life is horrible. Just like Gene said it about grunge. Oh, life is terrible. No, life is good. Life is not terrible.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be famous, I suggest that you sit in your
But a lot
room.
of people, you know what? But a lot of people suddenly connected with it. So,
Well, here's the thing, though. Kurt Cobain, all these guys, they hated being famous. Well, there's something you could easily do about that. Don't accept the record contract.
Yeah.
Don't go on tour. Sit
and
in
it's
your
amazing.
garage.
It's amazing that I dislike Nirvana so much because I love the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters.
Who
Dave
doesn't?
Grohl.
Who doesn't?
I love the Foo Fighters.
Who doesn't? And there was a big thing. Howard Stern was talking to what's her name there, Courtney Love, and he's like, how do you feel that Dave's band is bigger than Nirvana ever was? And she's like, that's not. She got a big pissing contest with him, and yeah, I love the Foo because the Foo Fighters aren't grunge.
No.
That's why, and they're not.
Well, they're just a rock band. That's all they are. They're just a rock band.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And I think the grunge. I think grunge. I think they just made the grunge word because they all came from Seattle and everybody suddenly got sucked into that vortex.
And everybody was wearing dirty fucking flannels and dirty pants and
that didn't bother me.
they were fucking grungy looking.
Yeah, I could have cared less about that. It was more of the two bands the three bands that didn't get Nirvana. I just didn't like. I didn't like them. Period. Alice in Chains I didn't like either, and those two were probably the two heads of that whole mood crap. You know what I mean? Pearl Jam I'm indifferent to. I just don't. They're more of I don't connect with. You know what I mean? The other two I just didn't like.
I know a lot of people who can't.
Pearl Jam I just didn't connect with for some reason, and I don't understand why myself. You know what I mean? Hi, Tom. As Tom would say, he is a big Pearl Jam fan, and he would say after 10, he hears a lot, and I said it myself. After 10, it's like, nobody heard anything after 10. I liked 10. I liked that a lot. And then afterwards, and I tried to follow it up, and I tried to listen to a lot of stuff, and it just didn't connect with me. You know what I mean?
Maybe if they had subtitles underneath what Eddie Vedder was singing, I could understand.
Hey, no.
There we go. I don't know. And it's the same thing with Lane Staley. Half the shit the guy was singing about, I couldn't.
You can go to any realm of rock and roll, any time period, and find people that you had trouble with understanding. You know what I mean? There's stuff that Ozzy sings that I'm like, what?
And you, dude,
is he enunciating?
You look at
Zach on some black label. Is he? Me and you said that there was a point where he put out a couple of them that we were like, is he enunciating or is he just moaning?
Well, he was drunk. He was slurring his speech. Chris, the dude from
I think when people want to talk about mumbly, they just want to take a shot at Pearl Jam, which I won't do because I don't hate Pearl Jam. I'm actually indifferent to them. I just didn't connect to them.
Chris Cornell was an incredible singer, and he was like I said, Soundgarden, and then when he went on to do what was the band? Audio Slave.
Yeah,
that was a great fucking band. Chris Cornell was one of the greatest singers. Period. Forget grunge or anything else. Yeah, I didn't connect. There's other stuff. I don't connect with anything today, and everybody's like, you're just old." I'm like,
no, I don't connect with the majority of today, but I connect with a lot of stuff. I love Slash I love Miles Kennedy.
Oh yeah,
but Alter Bridge, I can't do it. I've tried.
Different animal.
Yeah, completely different animal. I've tried, and I do not like Alter Bridge.
They are kind of almost a copy of, what's shit, man? You talk about you. Who's the other band like Alter? The guitar player from Alter Bridge is in the other band.
Oh, Creed.
Creed. They're almost like Creed.
I don't. I wouldn't put them on Creed.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put them with Creed.
Like Phil. Hi, Phil. A lot of the stuff Phil listens to, I'm like, the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, well, it's
but it's like I said, it's personal.
It's personal taste,
opinion. And if it doesn't hit my ear, and listen,
there's a lot of shit I listen to that you go, and there's a lot of shit you listen to that I go,
yeah. I have heard shit that has been just like, ooh, oh wow, that's fucking cool, and I find out what it is, and everybody puts everything in a genre or a
category,
they label it and categorize it and everything like that, and most music is just music, and if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, it's bad. I mean, I guess, but who's to say what's bad? I fucking hate jazz. Everybody I know loves fucking jazz. I said, you know what jazz sounds like to me? Jazz sounds to me like it's a bunch of guys out of tune playing a different song.
Well,
unless you're watching Charlie Brown,
there's some jazz. Listen, there's some jazz that I like, but I like about this much jazz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I probably like the jazz where pure jazz people would be like, oh, you like that? Yeah. Snobbish type of thing. That's fine.
Here's some jazz fusion, man.
Jazz fusion,
progressive jazz fusion.
In the band when we fucked up songs and when we I think there was one gig where we got lost in the middle of Rock and Roll by Zeppelin, and if I don't know how it happened.
I didn't want to say anything, but okay.
We don't know how it happened. Me and John were heading in the right direction, and everybody else kind of started going off, and we brought it back and everything afterwards. We were like, so we're never going to play the rock and roll version of the jazz fusion, the jazz fusion version of rock and roll. We corrected it after that, so it never happened again. But it was like one of those like, woo, yeah, okay.
These chairs are very uncomfortable. We need to get some comfy chairs.
After an hour, yeah. So now that we've gone way off topic.
Well, we said it was going to be freeform.
Yeah, that is this will be our
Freeform Monday.
This will be our conclusion of Kiss on RockPod number 3. Not that we won't ever bring them up again, but probably won't be doing. We're going to be going into a lot of other bands.
Absolutely, and listen, as long as everybody realizes that they are the fucking greatest band it ever was, I have nothing more to say.
Spoken like a truly unfunny alcoholic.
Don't think, Axel. It makes my dick it.
Yeah, that's from Steve, not me.
The greatest, most influential band that ever lived. I have
Wow.
Well, Gene's paying me by the plug,
All right, well, he ain't paying me, so.
I get $1 every time I mention Kiss.
Jeez.
Every hour I mention him, I get $1. Every hour I don't, I get 50 cents.
You get 50 cents?
Well,
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Don't forget, everybody. Next week the Kiss pacifier comes out. So
the Kiss pacifier.
I actually think they already have
Kiss diapers. They have Kiss diapers.
They have Kiss baby stuff.
It doesn't surprise me. You know what? And everybody, I'll say this one thing about this.
Everybody's doing it now, so
I'll say this one thing about this. Everybody said, everybody puts on that, it takes away from Kiss musically and what they are because they do the merchandising. But you know what? Gene puts it out there, and people go, "Oh my God, can you?" The outrage that he would put that out there. What's the outrage? If you don't like it, don't buy it. It's the same thing with the outrage. They put this on a radio channel or a TV channel or something. Turn the channel. Turn the channel, people.
Hey, they've got just as much Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. I've seen so much. And
Metallica. Metallica's got a lot too.
Iron Maiden is really taking a big cue from Gene. They're selling so much merchandise now. It's not even funny. Dolls, figures, busts.
They should have been doing that. They should have been doing that way before with Eddie. Like they should have put that on steroids before. They had a perfect vehicle to do that.
Oh my
Eddie.
God! Can you imagine if you're an Iron Maiden fan, all the Eddie shit? I mean, that would have been. Oh my God, that would have been.
I remember back in '85 and '86. When Jade Gift was still around.
Yeah.
And that was the only place you could go in there and get a sliver. Maybe you could find
Kiss stuff
of Kiss 70, like makeup, anything with makeup on it. Like you might be able to get a patch or a pin,
maybe
or something
a poster
like that,
even,
or even a poster. Yeah. That was a big thing because there was nothing of that around.
No.
And it wasn't like eBay where you could go on and get the old stuff or anything.
If it wasn't selling, he wouldn't do it. But the baby stuff, they've got bottles and booties and they may have. I know why you're asking about Kiss diapers.
Do they have Kiss enema kits?
Gene's tongue would be yeah. It wouldn't.
God bless him. Listen, I learned long ago with the Kiss stuff. You went a little bit more extreme. You were at a point where if I had pissed in snow Kiss, you would have been trying to pay me some money to get out of there.
I need some what's that shit called? The dry ice.
You went a little insane.
I went a lot insane.
Yeah, went a lot insane. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the things that I think are cool and that make me happy. And you were like, I must have it all. Whatever Gene puts on the market, I must have.
I get shit, and Bob just goes, "Really?"
Yeah. You know where that hit the peak part was when you were just sweating desperately to get these Kiss plates at Spencer's, and I was like, really, plates?
I was like,
plates.
I was like, you know who the biggest two culprits of merchandising are is Elvis and the Beatles.
Oh yeah, huge.
Have you ever seen the shit that those guys have out?
Actually, to be honest with you, the Beatles were ahead of Kiss in merchandising.
Absolutely,
they were really the originators. There was the whole pop 60s movement was so big on merchandising. The Partridge Family, the Monkees, the
Munsters, all the TV shows, the Addams Family. There's a guy.
People forget.
There's a show called The Toy Collector, and this guy goes around finding rare toys.
Sounds like a Batman villain.
I know, The Toy Collector. He goes around finding rare toys for his customers.
It probably is.
And he also finds them he does toy shows and stuff. He found this guy that had a Munsters collection that was your basement plus another one. Just full of, I didn't even know this Munster shit existed. I had no idea how much of it came out.
Oh yeah, crazy
and
shit.
It stunned me, and I'm thinking
there's Addams Family stuff, Gilligan's Island stuff. That's what I mean.
Everybody blames Kiss
stuff
for
from the 60s. Yeah,
they just were doing what a lot of people were already doing, and they went beyond that.
Well, did they really? I mean, the Beatles were doing it, and the Beatles were pumping out so much
dolls and Beatles.
Yeah.
You can buy all their outfits.
Yeah.
Their suits and shit.
Yeah. The Beatles were going, that stuff was going crazy when they were actually a band. You know what I mean?
Everybody's jumping on it, though, to a certain extent. I know Motley Crue, they put out a bunch of merchandise, dolls and mugs, and it's stupid not to live off of your brand. If people want it, obviously people want it or they wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
If Gene wasn't selling or these other bands weren't selling, he'd say, well, the merchandising thing's not working out. I'm not spending my money. Gene's not going to spend his money on something that's not working.
Yeah, I mean, it's not anybody's fault that the new line of trickster action figures aren't selling.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? They're not quite selling.
No, you know, you got to give it time, Bob.
You got to.
It's only been 25 years. 28 years. You got to give it time.
You can't count, can you?
I don't know. I don't even know when the Trick Show came out. I know we
Were
talked
they
about
like
it.
91 or something? 90, 91?
I don't know. Baby, don't treat me bad. I don't know.
No, that's Firehouse.
Is that Firehouse? Oh,
Yeah.
what did Trickster sing?
Oh, they had that one, Do It To Me Good.
Oh,
that, whatever.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, when
Shit.
they're all...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It was when every band had to be happy and excited and happy.
It's when they played all songs in...
What did Dee Snider say? It all went downhill when Bon Jovi came out because the fucking guy wouldn't stop smiling.
Well,
There's no smiling.
There's no smiling in metal.
There's no smiling in rock and roll.
You gotta sit there and just imagine everything that was written towards the end of the 80s was written in all major scale, all major chords.
Pretty much.
So
pretty damn much. All right, so I think we're dropping the line on this. We've said our views.
Someone needs to come down here and clean up.
Right after you suck on these little Chinese nuts.
So
present them.
I am not gay, senor. You just make me do gay things.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Yeah, boy.
Oh, boy.
I got my fingers crossed for a little freaky deaky.
All right, so I think we're done here. We're over the limit. We're over the line. We're out of time. Wow, look at that. I'm a rapper now.
Wow.
Smooth. Came right
Rap
out.
sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. Rap doesn't suck. I just don't understand it.
Damn, that's nasty.
All right. Say goodnight, dickhead.
Good night, dickhead.
Stadler?
Yeah, what?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.
Well, good night.
Oh, hell, let's just do what we always do. Hijack some nuclear weapons and hold the world hostage.